Hi friends, welcome to today's video. In this video, I'm coming to you from this peaceful retreat, taking a moment to slow down and reflect on the whirlwind that 2024 has been and all of the lessons that it has taught me. So, let's dive right in. 2024 has been a year of unexpected twists, personal growth, and life-changing lessons. As the year winds down, I'm taking a moment to reflect on everything it has taught me, from overcoming challenges to celebrating the wins I never saw coming. Let's dive into the lessons that have shaped me this year and hopefully inspire you to reflect on your own journey too. Lesson number one that 2024 taught me is that God's provision is constant, even when life is uncertain. This year, I was out of work for the most of it, yet somehow I didn't struggle financially, emotionally, or mentally. He amazed everyone, including myself, but honestly, I clung on to the Bible verse that reminds me that God is my anchor. And if He is mindful of sparrows, how much more me that He bought with a high price? So, whether I'm working or not, His provision is constant and it is not tied to a paycheck. So, let this be your reminder. God's provision is constant, even when life feels uncertain. This is one lesson I'm going to take with me into 2025 and beyond. Even when everything seems unclear, what I'm going to put in my mouth in the next minute will not and cannot be the problem, cannot be a source of worry, because God is my ultimate provider and He doesn't change. Lesson number two I learned from 2024 is to count it all joy, even in disappointment. I mentioned earlier that I was out of job for the most of this year. However, in the course of the year, I applied for several jobs and I interviewed, and in fact, I even landed 2 contract roles. Unfortunately, these contract roles were rescinded before I resumed. And as usual, you would expect that, one will be broken down, one will be sad. When I heard the news, I was a bit upset, but I didn't let it drag on for too long. I just said to myself, I'm going to count this all joy in hopes and understanding that definitely God has a better plan ahead for me. It was very tough, but instead of falling apart in the moment, I leaned on my faith and reminded myself that God always has something better. This experience showed me how much strength I have gained in trusting God's timing and God's provision. As human beings, when we want something, a lot of times we want it to happen a certain way and at a certain time. But God's timing is always different. And guess what? God's timing is always the best, because eventually God came through. I could have allowed the disappointment in the moment to make me fall completely apart and then maybe even give up on the whole job search process. But I didn't let that happen. So this lesson I learned in 2024, I'm going to take it on with me even beyond 2025. That when disappointments happen, it is important to start to look at the positives of it. Count it all joy, even in disappointment. Because a lot of times, the things that we really want and we're desperate for and we're upset that we didn't get may not necessarily be God's plan. Because what I eventually got, despite losing and having 2 contracts rescinded this year, is beyond mind-blowing. So, count it all joy. Lesson number 3 that 2024 taught me: gratitude changes everything. You would agree with me that for somebody who didn't have a job for the most part of 2024 and still found a way to not lose her cool, did not lose her mind, there must be something that she is doing. This year, I doubled down on writing my gratitude journal, and this completely changed my life and my disposition towards a lot of the challenges I faced this year. Despite everything that was going wrong, every single day, I still had a reason to be thankful. And that ability to find joy and be thankful despite what was happening really helped me to remain grounded, helped me to continue to be hopeful, to continue to apply, because I was even at a point, one of the things that I was thankful for was the fact that I would write down daily saying, I am thankful for the ability to be able to apply for a new job. So with my gratitude journal, I would jot down 3 things I'm thankful for daily. And one of the things I was thankful for daily, even though I was looking for work at the time, was the ability to be able to look for work. And because I was thankful even in that moment, it made my disposition completely different and positive. Even though I was still applying, I wasn't feeling rejected. I wasn't feeling desperate. I wasn't feeling like, oh my God, if I don't get this particular one, I may not get another. No, I was thankful for the opportunity to even be able to apply. So that alone changed the way I showed up to the interviews, changed the way I took rejection. Even when I hear, oh, we are sorry, even when I hear, not this time, I still didn't let it beat down my self-esteem or or beat down my self-worth or make me feel like I was never going to get a job. So gratitude really does change everything. Another way that being grateful this year has really helped me is that it helped me to stay at a stable equilibrium. Even on the hard days, gratitude helped me to find joy in the little moments. Whether it is just talking through my application process with my children or just getting a hug that says, "Mommy, well done." I found a reason to be thankful in the moment, despite everything that was happening around me or everything that wasn't working. And the only single thing that was responsible for this mindset and disposition was me being grateful. So gratitude changes everything. If there is anything that you're going through right now and you are looking at everything and you're feeling like, I have no reason to be thankful, I am here to tell you that the smallest of things, maybe it's just the air that you breathe, be grateful for it. When you start to show gratitude for those little things, your mindset starts to change towards everything that will be going wrong around you, and you will soon start to see the positive side of things. Lesson 4, healing is a continuous journey. Having my mom come around this year and visit us was so beautiful. It brought me a lot of healing to our relationship and to my inner child. If you follow me on Instagram, you would have seen some of the videos where I shared about some reparenting moments where I was, walking my mom through certain things that I wish that she had done differently, and how I am embracing it and how she's taking the lessons. I share that on my social media. So if you're not following me on Instagram, my Instagram handle is @TGJonah. It will be nice to have you follow. Those moments of repairing and reconnecting with my mom were a reminder that it is never too late to rebuild your relationship with anyone, and it is never too late to repair. By the time my mom was leaving the UK, she specifically said to me that she wished that she knew as much as we know now, that she would have done some things differently. There was a lot of her apologizing to me and me doing the same, and her learning new things and new ways that I am choosing to parent my children. And the most beautiful side of it is her feeling like, oh, if I knew this, I actually would also have done this. So reparenting her in the moment was really beautiful. The lesson that taught me is that as parents, we should not put any kind of unrealistic expectation on ourselves, right? We will make mistakes. We would offend our children. We will do things that they're not happy about. What is important is how we deal with those mistakes when we are made aware. When we are made aware, we should embrace repairing and look for ways to rebuild the relationship. Having my mom around helped me to understand this on a different level. And now that my son is a teenager, I'm seeing how our relationship is evolving, and this lesson is going to continue to stay with me. That it is okay to make mistakes, offend your children, but what is important is you looking to rebuild and repair the relationship. At the end of the day, you are not running away from your children tomorrow. They are not running away from you. You might as well focus on fostering a better and healthier relationship with them, whether through reparenting, whether through conversations, or just generally sitting down and listening to them, listening to ways that you may have offended them, and taking and owning responsibility and apologizing genuinely. We are parents, not perfect human beings. So mistakes would abound. Lesson 5, consistency brings growth. I know you've heard this a lot of times. However, until you really experience the power of consistency in your growth or in your progress in whatever it is that you're doing, you may never fully grasp the magnitude and impact of being consistent. Starting a Bible group study last year was a huge leap of faith, but staying committed to it has been completely transformational. This month, the Bible study group turned 1 year, and the growth has been nothing short of miraculous and transformational. And this is all due to consistency, meaning every single Friday, I was in the group, we were reading the Bible, we were analyzing it and finding application to our everyday life. When I was notified that it's been 1 year that I've been doing this, I was completely shocked. But you see, 1 year in, the growth and the transformation has been nothing short of miraculous. And like I said, this is all due to consistency. This is a lesson that I've always known, because in 2024, I saw it play out clearly in my personal endeavor. I am going to be taking this lesson with me to 2025 and beyond. Lesson 6, rest is not a reward, it is a necessity. One of the reasons that I am at this retreat is because of this particular lesson that I learned. Sometimes in the year, with all of the stress and challenges of trying to apply for a new role and even losing several contracts, interviewing and all of that, I started to experience some kind of burnout. I know we don't talk enough about how looking for a job in itself is actually a full-time job. However, managing that, going to several interviews, doing other interviews, being a mom, and all the other things that my life required put me in a place where I was completely drained. Coupled with the fact that things were not going as I wanted it to go. As much as I still had a positive outlook, I started to feel drained because this was taking a toll on me, preparing for interviews, showing up at my children's school event, and all of the other things that I get to do as a mom. I started realizing that I wasn't showing up as the person that I was or I wanted to be. From that moment, when I became aware of what was happening to me, I decided, irrespective of the fact that I was looking for work and all of that, I was going to start to schedule rest as a non-negotiable. In the midst of all that I had to do, I started scheduling rest into my week like a meeting I could not cancel. And this completely changed the way I started to feel. It helped me to start to feel refreshed. It helped me to start to also show up differently and show up more energized to things I needed to do. I know as moms, it is very easy for us to forget about ourselves and worry about every other person that we need to show up for and look after. But the truth is that if we don't feel full, if we are not restful, if we don't feel looked after, if we don't feel prioritized, it becomes a problem. We become useless to everybody else around us because it is from replenishing, feeding, and putting back into ourselves that we're able to give to all of the other sources that are connected to us. This lesson was really profound for me this year, and I'm going to be taking it outside of this year with me. That rest is not a reward, rest is a necessity. In fact, when my mom came, it was also one of the things that I started to teach my mom because as African moms, they're used to doing and doing and doing. My mom found it difficult to rest when she came. She found it difficult to be still. She found it difficult to just take time off. She would say things like, oh, I'm feeling like I'm like, no, mommy, rest is not a reward for hard work. Rest is not a reward. Rest is a necessity. Rest is like food. It's like eating food. So you need to rest. So dear mom, take this with you. Rest is a necessity and not a luxury. You deserve to have rest. The same way you deserve to breathe is the same way you deserve to rest because so many people are depending on you, and if you're not resting and pouring back into yourself, you cannot pour into your people from an empty cup. So let's take it into 2025. We put rest forward. Rest is a non-negotiable. Lesson 7. Parenting is a never-ending lesson or a never-ending journey. When people say, oh, give birth and do all you have to do so that you can forget about it, I am here to tell you that 2024 has reminded me that parenting is a never-ending journey. Now that my son has become a teenager, one would think, oh, because your child is older, it should be a lot easier. Well, newsflash, it is not. In fact, these teenage years, I am learning so much about navigating this season with him, his own role, my own role as a mom, and so much more. It is teaching me patience, grace, and the importance of being adaptable. So if you assume that because your child is now going to be 13, 14, then the parenting ends, no, it is not going to end. This lesson is one that I've always known. However, with my son becoming a teenager this year, this lesson became more vivid. So I've been saying to everyone who cares to listen that if anyone has ever told you, once they're a bit older, you are fine, please tell them that that is not true. This lesson is definitely going into the new year with me and beyond because after all, my son is still there, parenting is still there, and we will continue to learn and evolve. So parenting is a never-ending journey. If you are currently in a season where you are struggling right now, don't feel like you have failed, don't feel like you are broken, don't feel like your parenting is bad. It is a never-ending journey. It is always evolving. The things that you need to be able to survive this journey is, first of all, your ability to be adaptable. Things are going to change, whether developmentally or otherwise. Your children are going to have big emotions, new emotions, but you need to be in a place where your mind is ready to evolve and change as your children are evolving. So parenting is a never-ending journey and it is a never-ending lesson cycle. Lesson 8. Do not give your energy to anything that does not build you. I think that's pretty clear enough. This year, I made sure I said no to everything that did not align. As I mentioned earlier, I wasn't working the most part of the year, so you would expect that for someone that had so much time on their hand, I would just say yes to anything because I was quote and unquote available. But this year was the year that I said more no's to the things that didn't align and things that didn't build me. So when I say yes to the things that build me, I was able to give it my all, to give it my best, to do my best with it. But for things that didn't build me, I said complete complete no to it. And this lesson I'm taking with me into the new year because I noticed the positive impact that saying more no's to things that didn't align and yes to only things that align. I saw the impact that had on me. However, in the moment while trying to say no, especially to people who were closer, who were like families, and I had to say no, in the moment it felt uncomfortable. However, I rode through the emotion, I rode through that discomfort, and I still stood my ground with the no. Doing this helped me to be my best for the few things that I said yes to, and it completely changed my life. So this lesson is going with me into the new year. Anything that doesn't build me, I am not giving my energy to it. And that's it. Giving your energy to things that does not build you will have your attention and energy dissipated and scattered all over the place. You will find yourself running from pillar to post, doing so much without achieving any tangible result. But when you only focus on the things that build you, you would realize that you will harness all of your energy, all of your effort into being efficient and getting the best result for the few things that you say yes to. So the lesson is, do not give your energy to anything that does not build you. The lesson I'm taking into 2025 and beyond. Lesson 9, seize the moment. In layman's term, do not delay enjoyment. This is because life's most beautiful experiences will not wait. Nobody is promised tomorrow. So whatever it is that you need to do today, that you are able to do today, why not do it today? This year, so much happened. Unfortunately, we lost a lot of our friends, and this just reinforced the lesson that joy is not something to be postponed. It is meant to be lived and lived now. So do not postpone it. Seize the moment. Nobody is promised tomorrow. We don't know who is going to wake up tomorrow. So why are you postponing it? Whether it is enjoyment, whether it is purpose, whether it is finding meaning, whether it is healing that relationship, whether it is looking after yourself, whether it is repairing a relationship, seize the moment. Do it now that you're able to. Last but not the least, lesson number 10. It is okay to change your mind at any point in time. I had goals at the start of the year, if you write anymore, midway through the year. I was working on a side hustle that was honestly feeling more stressful than exciting. That by the middle of the year, I was already feeling burnt out by trying to build that side hustle. So at that time, I decided it was time to let this rest. Letting it rest at the time in that moment felt like a failure, especially because I also didn't have any other job at the time. But in the long term, it actually opened up space for things that did bring me joy, and that helped me to continue to stay grounded and remain positive throughout the year. For example, like focusing on this channel and creating content, and also spending more time with my family. This in the moment didn't feel good because nobody wants to start something and stop midway. However, if you find that this is taking more than it is giving back, and it is more stressful and bringing you burnout than it is exciting, there is no point in continuing to beat a dead horse. There is a lot of strength in knowing when to actually quit something, because sometimes not quitting something that is already dead and needs to be quitted causes you to not be able to focus on things that need your attention and that are more important, plus also that will bring you more progress. So it is okay to change your mind at any point in the year. Peradventure, you set out in the year with a certain goal and you start to work on it, and you find yourself in the middle of the year or maybe in Q3 that this is not doing what you expected it to do. There is no point in continuing to pour energy into it because you're feeling like you started it and then you just have to continue. No, it's okay to stop in the middle of the year and say, this did not turn out the way I expected it to turn out. I will channel my energy towards something else. As long as you are not one of those people who is constantly chasing the next shiny object. If you have honestly evaluated this thing and you've seen that it is actually not doing what it needs to do, and you are sure that you have given it all the energy and effort and you've put in your best and you're still not getting results, it is okay to stop in the middle of the year. I could have continued chasing after this side hustle and it would have continued to burn me out and continue to stress me out and cause me to lose more things, because if I get burnt out, my relationship with my family will be affected because of the way that I was feeling. So letting it go allowed me to be able to have a rethink. What are the things that I did wrongly? If I was going to start something similar again, what would I do differently? What would I do better? So I took my lessons. instead of bogging down myself in that one thing that wasn't working, I analyzed the situation. I was very, very clear in that moment that leaving that particular thing and changing my mind about it in the middle of the year was the best decision to make. And I made it. And it was okay. This is the end of the year and I have no regrets. In fact, I am upset that I did not stop working on it earlier. One of the lessons I'm taking away from this year is that it is okay to change your mind about something that you have started. Do not feel like you have to continue working on something, especially if it is not working. So this lesson I am taking with me into 2025 and beyond. 2024 has truly been a year of growth, provision, gratitude, pivots, and ultimately healing. Every single challenge came with a lesson, and every blessing I experienced reminded me of God's love and abundance. I would love to hear from you. What is one lesson that stood out to you in 2024? Share in the comments and let's encourage each other as we wrap up the year. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to give it a like and subscribe. We do have an amazing time here. If thriving motherhood, personal development for mom, and intentional living is your thing, then I say welcome home. Until next time, thank you so much guys for watching. Bye everyone.